21 grasslands. So I could get 41 food, which is an incredible amount of food in this early game.
My name is Ozymandias, King of Kings.
So hello. It's your boy FeedBoss50 here, and we're gonna be checking out a game called Ozymandias. So this one's interesting. It came out a year ago, and it honestly hasn't gotten that much following. I picked it up recently with some buddies. They were giving it out for free on GOG, and I started playing it. It's like Civ 5 or Civilization series, games like that, a 4X strategy game, but it plays a lot quicker. So it kind of feels like an in-between, but like a board game that feels a little bit like Civ. So you can get it done in, probably about 30 minutes to an hour if you're playing really quickly. If you're playing like a bit of a longer campaign, it might take you up to 2, but that'd be a long Ozymandias game. So I've been playing it for a little bit. I've been having a lot of fun with it. So I just wanted to play it for you guys, take you guys a little bit on the road here with me as we play some Ozymandias. So I'll tell you a little bit about the game. It's based on the poem. I think it's Mary Shelley has wrote it. It's kind of cool. Would recommend you check out the poem. It's got an interesting meaning there if you want to look up a little bit about it. But so you can come in here and you can select your different maps. This is kind of how you do it. Let's get a little bit more. Oh, let's do China. That'd be good. Then we got 6 different people. So you can see down here, these are your different factions, and this will make sense when I come in here on the map. So why they say it's kind of like a Civ is it's a civilization builder. So you start off with your different civs here. And this one's interesting because unlike Civilization, where you can settle in certain locations, this one you're set up and you actually can choose what to play. So you'll always play the Zhaos in China will start on this square right here. So it's not randomized in that setting, which can make it a little bit interesting, but also can help you to try to train your strategy and to get better. So you can play a higher difficulty because the element of randomness is a little bit lower. So we can click into some of them. We can see, so the Jins, that's medium, and they each have their own little bonuses. And I'll explain a little bit about what these things mean in a second. But you can see that this one, the perks are that knowledge technologies cost 25% less to buy. Same thing with wealth, but flags and units are a little more. So what this one's going to be, and it makes sense because they're scholarly, they're going to be less focused on expansion and imperialism. So they're not going to be buying units to fight wars. They're more going to be building up that knowledge and wealth and kind of snowballing their technologies. That's a bit of a medium one. We got the Zhaos over here, also medium. They're going to be a little bit further off. They're in the mountains. Each of the tiles provides different yields. We can take a look at that in a second too. But you also want to consider the starting locations while you're going through it. So we got a couple mediums here and a medium there. And we also got a hard down here in the bottom and then a medium right there as well. So actually it looks like the easiest is right here. This is a new map. I might end up trying the easy one, and let's see what is up with this. So easier is going to start with a little bit more resources. So that over there on the left, that 20, that's going to be my food. Pound sign is 30 gold, and then the flask is 30 science. So here we got new cities don't cost more than the previous, so you can expand and keep building. Typically, when you build a city, the next one's going to cost a little bit more. You use food to do that. And then growing cities. Okay, so this one's all about expanding your cities and growing them. However, up front, it's going to be a little bit harder because flag technologies and food technologies cost a little bit more. Let's just try them out. It's easy. So you can choose your difficulty. They've got a wide range here, so you can do... and this is going to give you bonuses over the AI. But let's get into this one, and I'll show you a little bit what it is. So to start the game, you can see we each have our own little category here, and there's each of these different tiles. If I hover over this, you can see this is a grassland, and you can see the icon for it too. It has a river on it, so of course this is going to be a river tile, and each of these are going to yield different things. Now, the overall strategy of the game, what we're playing for, we're not necessarily trying to eliminate all the other empires. That is definitely an avenue to win. However, the main method that you play for are these crowns. And so it's over here on the side, and we're all playing for these same crowns. And what happens is you need to get 7 crowns required for victory. That's up here at the top, and this will keep track of how many you currently have. These change every game. So while the positions of your armies and your civilizations start in the same place, these crowns change every game. So it adds a little bit of flavor to what's going on. So what we're going to want to do is at the beginning of the game here, kind of before the first turn, it's always a good idea to check, okay, how am I going to win this? Because like I said, these are randomized. So you want to kind of plan out a little bit, okay, what is my civilization good at? Are we going to be good at claiming a lot of spaces on the map to where maybe I can get this one? But maybe we're not going to be so good at fighting. We're not going to be able to capture cities very well. And so maybe I can't do this and I'll need to plan to get some crowns from another source. Like I said, you need 7. So any combination of these is good. The other thing to keep in mind is these things update live. You can see I've got 30 gold and it shows me as having 30 wealth right there. If I were to spend this gold, which I definitely will, that's going to go down. And if I ever hit 500 and I get those crowns, if I go below 500 again, I will then lose those crowns. And that's the same for any of these things. Okay. So that's over here in the crowns. Then you can just, you can highlight and see who's around you. A little sneaky thing, you can actually see how other people are doing. If you want to check out some of the other civilizations, how far along they are, you can see that different cities start with different population at first here, which is kind of neat. So that's on the left side. On the right side, this is where things get a little bit more complex. As you can see, we've got the science, we've got the money, we've got the food, and we've got the military. That's our power. We don't have any units right now, so we don't necessarily need to talk too much about our power. But one thing to note is that cities radiate power. And you can actually see if I click the power, you can see that this city has 3 power, and it's going to radiate off of that. You can see the bit of the shading that comes up, and you can see that here. So this one city has 3 power, then this next tile has 2 power, and then these both have 1, and this city is doing the same thing the other way for the red AI. And so that's why these tiles right here are kind of being contested, but nothing's going to happen to them if there's no military. The other thing to keep in mind too is growing your borders. How do you expand? And from that, you spend food. This opens up the flag menu when you click over here, the food. And what's that going to do is show you can place flags down. Let's just put them down. And I'll show you another cool thing. So if we place these flags down, you can see that that's all 20 of my food that I get this turn. And I put my flags in. And what's going to happen is until I click the end turn, which is this hourglass here, it's going to kind of stake my claim for those. And if nobody else contests me for those claims, then those will become my borders at the end of this turn. But maybe I don't really want to go there. So I'm going to click the eraser and I get to undo it. And that goes back to the start of my turn. Everything that I did gets wiped out and I can retry and set something else up. So if you make a mistake, it's nice to just hit that eraser. The only thing is you can't go back turns. So if you make a mistake last turn you don't realize until your next turn, you're kind of out of luck. All right, so what I opened right here, this is my science, and these are the tech trees in the game. And so what you can look at on the left side here, starting from left to right, you can see we've got all the different types of land. Like I told you, these were the different tiles and they have different yields. Because they're in my army, or they're in my civilization rather, I have 4 of these land tiles, and you can see it's listed right here, the grassland 4 tiles. What the flags do is this is going to make it cheaper. So if we look with no flags, these 2 tiles are going to cost 5 and 6 respectively. But if I were to buy some flag tiles, now they only cost 2 and 3, so it's going to make it a lot easier to expand. And if you can remember, this was one of the things that I have a disadvantage on, that flag technologies cost 2 more science. So typically this would only cost 5 science, but now it's costing 7. Makes it a little bit more expensive to buy the flag techs, but they're really, really good to expanding your borders. It kind of is a snowball effect. The more tiles you have, the more yields you get, the more you can expand, the more you can grow. So you really want to try to get as many tiles as you can early and focus in on one type of tile. Because that brings us to the next part, is this, especially this middle section here, these middle 3 with the knowledge, the wealth, and the food. So that's this, what I've been calling science, what I've been calling money, and then also, the food. This is going to upgrade how much is yielded from that tile. So right now, the grassland comes default with, I get 1 money per turn, and I get 1 food per turn for every grassland I get in my territory. So because I've got 4, we're talking about we're getting 4 food and 4 money from grassland alone. I've also got 2 rivers, and you can see rivers start off. They're great for that early expansion because remember, in order to expand your empire, you put flags, and in order to buy those flags, they cost food. So it's really good to get rivers early because you get more food, which means you get more tiles, and the snowball happens again. There are all these other different types. I don't have any of those in my empire, which is why they're grayed out right now. And then all the way at the bottom here is the city. So I've got 3 city population that's right there in my city center. And cities are really good at giving you science or knowledge and wealth rather. However, they eat food. So it's something to consider, but you don't have to worry about that too terribly much. They're really, really good. So and I'm pretty sure, this is giving me 2 per turn for each city pop. Yeah, so we're getting 6 science per turn from these citizens in here, which is really quite a lot of science to be getting. That's actually our only source of science right now. So you start off with 30. Let's look at the wealth tab real quick just to take a look there. So you can see it just shows you what we've got each one. And what money does, you can think about it as flexible spending. So you can choose to allocate the money into these you can allocate it to knowledge, food, or power. And that's you're paying for those resources that turn. So what's going to happen is this turn, I can allocate where I want my money to go. I don't have any armies, which is why it's not going to let me put my money into power. But if I put it in here, you can see it's a 1-to-1 ratio. 1 money equals 1 knowledge. And so I could get 30 knowledge if I spent all 30 of my wealth into knowledge. Alternatively, it wants you, especially the first turn, it wants you to set up where you're spending 2 money for 1 food. However, food is very valuable in the early game because you use that to expand. So money is a great resource because it gives you a lot of flexibility in the early game. You can get some science, you can get some food, but also what's huge, if you come down here a little bit, is that some of your resources are wasted at the end of your turn. If I were to end my turn right now with 30 knowledge just sitting here, I actually lose 25% of that. And so I'm going to be losing 8 of my knowledge at the end of my turn. And you can see that I would be spending all of my money is the idea. So I have none left, so nothing's wasted. However, my food, right now I've got 20. If I were to end my turn, I'd be losing 30% of my food right there on this turn, so I'd lose 6. So you really are encouraged to spend your resources. You don't want them just to sit there, or else you'll start to lose them. What you can do, if you notice, you can actually spend your money to reduce the amount of waste you get each turn. So if you were to upgrade this fully, you would only lose 5% of your food per turn instead of 30% of your food. It's really, really something interesting to keep in mind. Some games you're going to really want to reduce some of these. Other times you might not. If you're spending it all every turn, you're not really wasting a ton. But if you're really trying to save up, like inside the knowledge tree, let's say you're trying to save up for 400 knowledge in order to get this one. If you have to save up, maybe you want to reduce these wastes so that way you can save up quicker. Because if you're saving, let's say you ended your turn with 300 wealth because you're saving up for this, you're going to lose quite a lot at the default. You lose 25% of that. So you're going to lose a lot of knowledge each turn. And then over here on the right, like I said, that's the power. You can see power, you lose 80% of your power at the end of your turn. So you get weak very quickly. It's very not sustainable. However, power is very useful. Now, I'll explain a little bit more about that, especially when we get to the point where we have other units. And then all the way down here at the bottom, this is how you get those units. You buy the stars are armies. Those are land units. And then fleets are boats. That's your navy. All right, so I probably confused everybody here. No worries. I think we should go ahead and just get into it to kind of showcase what we've got. So when we're placing these flags, one of the things you want to consider is that the other civilization will also be placing flags to expand. And if this civ were to place flag on this tile and I also put my flag on that tile, then what that's going to do is puts us in like this coin toss kind of moment where it's going to be decided by a few factors. One of those is power. So you can see that both our cities were equidistant. So we've got the same amount of power on that tile. And the next step is land borders on that land. So here we've actually got 2 tiles bordering this tile for the red civ. I only have a single tile bordering this one. So that's gonna actually, if I were to put a flag here and they also put a flag here, it would flip to their side. Inversely, I could put a flag here and I could probably take it. However, you can see that's a different resource. That's for forests. And you can take a look. Forests really don't give a lot. If you fully upgrade forests, they're only going to give you, 1 science and 1 money per turn. That's if you spend a lot in there. They do give you 2 food, but rivers are already giving you that, and they've already had that resource. So I'll just kind of play a little bit here, and I'll try to explain a little bit about what we're doing. The main thing that we want to look at on this one, like I said, we want to see what we would like to do. I think we have a pretty good shot at expanding, getting the spaces on the map. I think we might be able to do that one. However, we're placed in the middle, so it might be a little hard, but I think we can shoot for some places on the map. And then wealth is always good. We can always pivot into wealth because we can just start saving our money. City pop, we can probably hit that one pretty consistently. And that would put us at 7 if we're able to get all of these. Our backup plan could always be capturing cities to try to get this one too. But 5 cities takes quite a long time to do it. So the other thing that I want to do first off is we check out what resources we've got close to us. Small patches of forest, but not enough to make me really want to invest in upgrading the forests. I'm seeing a ton of grassland and also some rivers here. So I'm definitely going to be looking at upgrading this grassland and making that easier for me to both claim as well as providing better resources. So I might be able to sneak this river from them. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to invest a lot into the grassland. At least going to do that much. Now, do we want to do another river? Let's take a look. If we were to do the grassland right now, we'd have 6, 10, 14, 18. We could get 18. You could get these 4 or 5 grassland here. Upgrading it, that would give us even more. We might be able to get all of that. We'd get 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15. So we could claim all of those, but we wouldn't be able to get the river. And this river is really interesting to me because right now it's uncontested. This red, you see you can only expand into the areas that your borders are touching. And so these rivers, I know they're going to want these rivers. I know it. And so when they expand into this next turn, they might be able to get it. But right now I could take those rivers uncontested. So this is what makes it so interesting. I think for me, I'm going to go ahead and just go all into the grassland. And I might let the rivers be decided. Let's see what we can do. We could take the river here. Next turn, maybe take that river. Another really interesting thing is Okay, that sounds good. Take a look at what this costs. It costs 6 right now, but next turn it will be less because the more borders you have on a tile, the cheaper it is to claim it with the flag. So let's go ahead and do that. We're getting 6 tiles. That's quite a good amount. We're going to go ahead and see. So, and you can already see them starting to expand. They're expanding a bit into the plains. I'm going to push a little bit sideways. All right. Another thing that shows up at the end, or at the start of every turn rather, you get these opportunities. And so you always get 2. You can hold a maximum of 3. And they usually give you an option between 2 things. And you can actually see it really well right here. Right here, if we were to claim this, it gives us 2 food per river. If we click that right away, boom. We just got 6 because you can see we've got 3 river tiles. You can see them right here. 1, 2, 3. We got 2 food per river. Boom, we get that. We're already going. We're off to the races right away. However, if we were to wait and we were to research 10 flag techs, if we plan on researching a lot of flag techs, then we can actually get not just 6 food, we could actually get all of this yield what it has down here. So it's a little bit of a short-term gain compared to long-term investment. But one of the big things you have to realize is that if you can claim a couple extra tiles using this short-term gain, you're kind of making a different type of investment. Maybe you can actually beat that. Because if it's going to take you 2 or 3 turns to research all 10 of these flag techs, then maybe you would have already gotten a little bit of better output from the from just go ahead and claiming up front. I think I'm going to go ahead and do that. The reason behind that is in order to claim 10 different types of flag text, I'm going to want to be investing a lot in at least 3, maybe 4 types of tiles. And I just don't see those. I'm seeing a lot of grass. I'm seeing some rivers that I might want to invest into, but I don't really see a lot of these others close by my civ where I'm going to want to be spending a lot of flag text on. So we're going to go ahead and take this. We're going to claim it even. Maybe. Actually, we're not going to claim it. We're going to take it, but we're not going to claim it because we might catch these rivers. And so next turn we might get a little bit more. So we might wait just a hair longer. And I'll go ahead and pick that one up. So what I'm thinking about, I want to expand. I want to try to get as many tiles as I can. But I don't want to I want to get them when they're uncontested, if at all possible. So like I said before, so you can see right here, red borders this tile with me. Red might want to expand onto this grass. If they did, we both actually have equal claim to it because we're only touching it with 1 border each and we don't have any power in there. If we were to both put a grassland flag in here and we have the same amount of power, same amount of borders touching it, then nobody gets it and we just wasted that food, which is a very valuable resource in the early game. So instead, what I want to do is I want to look at places that might get contested in the future. And we're talking about places like this corridor right here. If I don't pick up these tiles right away, then maybe we'll get this sort of situation where they start contesting us. So we're going to start claiming these. I think I'm going to claim, I'm probably going to cop this river. And I don't have to claim this river yet because it's not contested. There's no way they can get a unit in there to deal with it. So I can kind of keep expanding my borders here and playing it a little bit more aggressive. I've got 6 more food. I want to spend every penny of it. And I don't want to spend it on here and end up losing out on that food. So I'm actually going to go ahead and claim 1 tile back. And then this last one, remember, because when you're expanding your borders, you can only expand into areas that you are touching. So you want to think about, okay, what are the areas that I will be touching next turn? If I expanded here, I'm going to be touching a forest, and this is actually an ocean tile or a lake. And so it'd be an ocean and then a grassland. Those would be the new tiles that I could now claim after claiming this one. But if I claim over here, I could actually claim 2 more grassland and a forest. I don't really care about the forest like we mentioned before. I like this grass. And I think I want to keep expanding these borders here because I want to try to stake as much claim as I can, get these spaces. Now, last thing I want to do, I could get 6 more if I wanted. I could get 6 more food if I wanted, and I can decide if I want to do that now or if I want to do that next turn. If I were to do that right now, I'd be able to claim, I would claim 2 more tiles. And I just don't know if that's going to be worth it. So let's go ahead and pass. The other thing, we were wasting 0 right now, like we talked about too. The worst thing to do would be to claim this and then end your turn, because then you don't want to float anything, you know, because you have to, if you look right here, we have to lose 30% of it at the end of your turn. No reason for that. Let's go ahead and claim it. We're getting some more rivers here. Maybe once I get these 2 tiles, we'll do that. Oh, and look, he claimed this spot. So if I were to have put my flag there, we would have both just wasted resources for really no reason. You could say that it can kind of stop them from expanding into there, which sometimes it's good, but I'm not too concerned about that at this point in the game. All right, we got another opportunity here. If we place 3 flags in a river, we get the flag text. However, look at this. We got like almost no river by us. We already got most of it. So we're definitely not taking that one. We're just gonna go ahead and take the other one, which is just a free plains flag. So we're getting very little science because the only science we're getting generated is from our city. We've got no science from any of our tiles at this point in the game because you only get the resources if you upgrade it, like it says here. So right now we're getting a decent amount of food, but we've got a ton of grassland, so we're really going to want to upgrade that in the future. Let's take another look here. And then we get this free grassland flag. Might as well use that right away. And we want to use it for one of the more expensive tiles. So you see there's some cheap ones here. We definitely don't want to spend all our free flag on that because you get one at any cost. So we want to remember that these are expensive and this is expensive. Not going to expand up here, just going to let him have it because at this point, if I were to, he would take it. This is power specific to your tiles. So if we were to spend 10 power in grassland, what it would actually do is it would give us power in the grassland, and that also happens when you're staking your claim. So if we were to have some power in there, we'd be able to fight this a little bit better. And I'll show you right here. So we see this red ring. That's because he's got power in this. And I'll show it. It might be a little bit crazy, but if you hover over the other AI, you can actually see what they've been buying and what they're doing. And so actually, and it makes sense because they're militant. They want to fight for this space. They want to expand. They're probably going to get army units out. So I'll need to be thinking about that. But you can see over here on the right side when I hover that they have a point in the grassland power, which is why they're strong right there. So if they were to stake a claim there, they would win because they would beat me in the amount of power. Now, why do I have power here? Remember, this is from my city. My city is also exuding that power outward in this kind of fog. Okay, so let's see what we got. Like we said, we wanted to claim this flag, so we're going to go ahead and put it here. And I'm expanding on to the bottom here because I want these grassland tiles. Also, I'm trying to, this guy's expanding up, so I want to make sure I've got my border secure before they get too close. And then we want to decide, do we need the food this turn? Honestly, I don't think so. I think I could probably grab this. I could go ahead and grab it. I'll wait next turn. That'll give me 2 extra food when I get this additional river section. And I'm not going to take that one. I'm going to let them take that. I'm going to have this one. And I just want to try to optimize to see how many tiles I could grab. I could try to fight for any of these, but like I said, I would just lose. I would just lose them because I don't have any power exuding this area. Neither do they. They have actually mountain power, and we can look right there. You can see over on the right side under power, they've got the mountain listed. But I don't want to waste my food. So I don't want to claim that one yet. However, remember that thing I talked about, how if you border a tile enough and you tie with the other military when they place a flag, you actually get that tile. So what I could do, let's say I want this river, which honestly I kind of do. Right now we're both sharing just 1 and 1. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to claim this grassland. So that way next turn I'll be able to grab that one. And you can see this one's cheaper. We bought the flags, but it's also cheaper because it's surrounded by so many borders that I've got here. So it's going to reduce the cost of that flag. Same one right here. It's surrounded on almost all sides, so it only costs 1. That's a really good price. And it can't get any lower. It can't get free unless you get one of those free flags. So I think probably what I want to do is claim both of these 1 costs. And then I can choose between either grabbing this 5 here or I want to grab this 4 here. I think right now, this is quite an interesting choice. This is a more efficient use of resources, at least right now. All right, this is something to consider when we expand into there. What are we going to do? Okay, I'm going to go over to the right side, actually. And the last thing that I want to check out, it's always good to just look at what you're going to get next turn. So we see I've got 6 science. I literally can't spend it on anything. There's nothing that costs 6. So what I'm going to look at is next turn I'm going to end up with 10 knowledge, this money, 17 money, 25 food, and that's me putting all my money into food. So something that can be good to look at is, am I going to be close to any of these breakpoints? So right now, the things that I'm looking forward to is wanting to generate knowledge by places that aren't just my city. If I could get this grassland tile, I'd be getting 13 knowledge per turn. That'd help me out a ton. If I were to upgrade the rivers, I'd be getting 4. That's fine, but it's a little easier. It's cheaper to do that. However, I get way more if I do it because of I get way more grassland. So we can take a look here. I don't think I'll be able to do it because it's 1-to-1. So the max I'll be able to get next turn would be 23 knowledge. So we're just going to go ahead. We're going to keep it going in the food. We're going to make sure we don't have any things we want to claim this turn. I don't think we want to claim that one because we'd be getting 8. Is there anything that we would really want for 8 right now? There actually might be. So we could either wait, we could get 2 extra food the following turn, or if I were to go ahead and claim it right now, get those 2 tiles, I would actually get 2 extra food anyway. I'd also get 2 money. Actually, totally worth it to go ahead and grab this right here. Glad that we checked that out. So now I can go ahead and grab these 2. And we're gonna let that go. We're gonna go to the next one. All right, we see the flags coming in. They actually did claim that river, so we won't be able to get that. 2 per grassland. This is gonna be, okay, we can either get a free flag here, and if we did take this, we can see the only plains tile I have is this one. So I'd be getting the equivalent of what's worth 5 money, or I'm gonna take 2 per grassland. I've got 21 grasslands, so I could get 41 food, which is an incredible amount of food in this early game. Okay, and then what are these other little bits here? These let you found cities. So to build a new city, it costs 25. If you build a city, the flags close by actually get cheaper, which is pretty nice. So it's something good to remember. And also remember that thing like I talked about, cities radiate power. So this 3 population city is radiating all these squares. So cities really help you defend your borders because they allow you to stake these claims easier, and also defend against armies because you've got additional power. So I'm eyeing all about these grassland tiles. That's what I'm looking at here. What I'm seeing is I'm going to be bordering this city very soon. We're going to be claiming these here. So maybe a city right there could be interesting. I'm also going to be bordering, you know, I'm going to be surrounded by 4 different AIs. So it's really interesting. I think we go ahead and just claim this though, because that's an obscene amount of food. You can see it only costs 25 to build a new city. And when you build it, let's hover, you can see, let me see. I'm pretty sure we should come in with 2 population, so which means we'll increase our city pop up to 5. So that's really, really good. Gets you a lot of more science, a lot of more gold. You do eat your food. You know, you got to feed your citizens. But you can see, and right here, it's this city. It's on grassland. It costs a different amount based on the tile you build it. But this one's next to the coast. It's a little cheaper. This one's on a river tile, so it's a little bit cheaper to build a city on those tiles. But what do we want to fight for? So we're going to try to put down a bit of at least 1 aggressive city. Do we want to do 2? And remember, new cities don't cost more than previous ones. That's the very first tab right there. So if I were to buy a city, normally these would go up to buy 30, maybe even 32. But with this tech, I can buy all these cities and it's not going to increase the price, which is really, really quite nice when you're expanding like this and you need to defend your borders. Help defend your claims. We also, something else to remember, we've got 10 science now, so we could buy an additional power in the grassland, which would help us when we fight these kind of more contested grassland areas. We had an extra power in there, we could get them. So we can either claim them from the city and let the city's power radiate out, or we could upgrade the knowledge. The other thing I really do want though is to increase my my yield, so I'm getting more science per turn. So I could either spend it on getting that defense, or I could, if I did this with my money next turn, I would be able to have 26. And this is where I'm saying it's very flexible. Do I want more food, or do I want more knowledge, or do I just want to put these at 0, and do I just want to save my money? So it's very, very flexible. Wealth is all about flexibility, turn by turn. So you want to check this out. So honestly, I might look into this. I do like this. We're getting a little bit less food next turn. However, we'll be able to generate, you know, it's really a snowball effect. If we're generating more science per turn, that means the quicker we can afford this upgrade, which would then give us more money per each tile, and then we can get these. So we can really snowball these tiles into providing a lot, because right now they're not. So let's see what we want to do here. What do we want to do here? And also, I don't want to put these flags down first, because if I do build a city, which I plan to build a city, you'll watch it and it will reduce the cost of these flags. So let's go ahead. We're going to put a city on the border to help it kind of radiate out a little bit. These are uncontested. The only ones that are contested are right here. Yeah. These 3 are contested. And so if I were to build a city, actually 4, these 4 are contested. So if I were to build a city right here, I'd be contesting 2, and I'll show you what that looks like. So I built one city right here. These flags immediately got cheaper. Even that one got cheaper. And you can see this city has a population of 2. So on the tile itself, it's got a +2 power, and it's radiating 1 power to the next one. You can see that on this one, +3, radiating +2, radiating +1, and that just keeps going all the way out. It loses 1 power every step of the way. What do I want to do next? So I'm definitely claiming both of these, and I should win because I've got more power. You can see the black ring increasing my power for my city. I'm going to claim these. This one, I might not win if they claim it as well. That might go for a toss-up, and because we're both sharing 1 land border, nobody might get it, but this is kind of one of those moments where I am okay with that. And then I definitely want that grassland. Now, what else do we want to do? So the next step that I would do here is to, and thing I will do, I suppose, is you can see, I do like these flags. I think they're really good. They help you expand out. And I can't research any of these flags because I don't have any of those tiles. So something you have to do is the first flag you place on something, you have to kind of spend full cost. You have to pay full price because you can't pre-research those flags. So I want to choose, okay, what type of tile do I want to start working next? What do I want to fight for? And maybe it's worth it for me to stake a flag in there. So that way I can start, then subsequently researching those flag texts. Something to consider is the 3 most powerful tiles in the game probably are these rivers, these grasslands, and these hills. Because you can see how high they go on the resource yields when fully maxed out. When fully researched, this hills, they could give you 2 knowledge, 3 gold, 1 food, and then the inverse of here, there's a combination on each of these. There's also islands, which are kind of cool. I can show you. Those are here. So they're very few and far between on this exact map that we're playing. So we're probably not going to even own an island at all. But mountains are great. Hills also, they have a defensive bonus. So they're harder for militaries to take just naturally, which is kind of cool. And it makes sense. We can see that they actually, this is my blue neighbors here, the Jinns. They have researched an extra power into those hills. So if I were to claim this one, odds are they're going to take it. However, they have no claim on this hill right now. So if I take it, I'm guaranteed to get it. And I think I just want to make sure that I get that. I can maybe start running a little bit up into these mountains, trying to outclaim the Jinns and get a little piece of these mountains here because they're really, really good for making money. You can see that I'll make a ton of food with my grassland when this is all upgraded. But I'm going to be lacking a little bit on the money department. So let's take a look at that. And you do need some wealth to win the game, probably. If you decide to go for these crowns, which looking at this is probably the ones I'm going to do. Like I said, right now I'm probably looking at trying to get some space, wealth, and city pop. We'll see if that's going to be possible with how sandwiched I am right here. And just double check here. So I'm going to claim a few tiles. I actually don't have to invest as much as I thought I would in there. So I can go 50-50 split right here to hit my 25. However, it might be worth going a little bit extra because I do want to get a little flag text. Remember, because I want to research up into these hills. So I think that'll be our plan moving forward. But I'm probably going to call it an episode on this one. Thank you guys so much for dropping by the channel, checking it out. And we'll carry it forward as we take on the rest of China and Ozymandias. We'll see you in the next part.